Welcome to part one of my home office slash YouTube studio makeover, I guess you would call it. I don't know if it's really a renovation, but there is going to be some stuff involved with changing the room up a bit and then also some of the studio stuff. But you may be wondering, why are you doing that? Because I have done several videos, one recently where I went over this setup, saying I was pretty much good with it, wasn't going to change it for a while. Well, you know, they say if it's not broke, don't fix it. I like fixing things and I get tired of stuff and I want something to do. So there's some things I want to change up in here, and I'll kind of show you why and what I'm thinking as well, and then kind of bring you guys along the process as I kind of reset this up. I love this shot, like everything in this shot and everything's going to stay the same. But as far as like the overall room, since I do stay in here a lot, since I work my 9 to 5 in here as well, plus do the podcast and my other YouTube channels, spend a lot of time in here. So I want to kind of make it more of a place to hang out too, and I'll kind of go over that. It's a little bit a larger room than your standard bedroom here in the US, but not much bigger. So kind of limited on space, especially since I have two separate desks in this one room, plus all the lights and everything. It takes up a lot of room. But I want to kind of go over my ideas and why it's not working, and then what I'm thinking about doing, and kind of get your guys' input, because I'm not sure how I want to go in some areas, and maybe see what you guys think as well. So this is the main shot on my Boomstick Tactical LLC channel, where we talk about firearms. I do own a firearms business, so that's kind of what that channel is meant for, which is why I have the gun wall here in the background. We have a podcast on that channel called the Workbench After Hours Podcast. This is where we do our podcast. This is where my co-host sits over here and his mic that he uses. And then when I'm doing separate videos or stuff on myself, I just kind of center myself here. And I love this setup because I basically have everything I need to just press record and go. Makes it super easy. So this space, this studio is pretty much going to stay the same, especially since I have that wall there. Really can't move that very easily. So this studio is going to stay the same. It's the rest of the room and maybe that secondary studio that you've seen on this channel that I usually use. I don't know if I'm going to keep two separate setups. I don't know yet. Maybe I'll get your guys' input on that. But let me zoom out here just so you get an idea of what this looks like. I am using Ecamm Live. So this is what this studio looks like when it's not zoomed in. And you can kind of see the back wall. I have painted black to match wall panels. Awesome. Love it. I hate these doors. And I'll show you guys a little bit more of what I'm seeing. But there's these little attic crawl space doors that serve no purpose. I don't use that area. And I hate how they're white and stick out. And I have a TV over here, and I'll show you what's wrong with that. But when we do the podcast and videos, I'll kind of bring it in a little bit so you don't see all that extra stuff. Makes it look a little bit better. And just to explain the whole 3-channel thing real quick, obviously we went over my main channel, the Boomstick Tactical LLC. I also have this channel, obviously, Shotgun Studio, where we go over, you know, gear reviews, microphones, because I really got into microphones and the production stuff when I was looking how to start that podcast, and like doing these types of videos, editing, things like that. But then I also have a motorcycle channel because I also got into that, Rusted KC Moto. That one's a little bit different. I do some stuff here, right here, and it works, but most of the stuff is obviously out on the motorcycle, so that's not a big deal. Come in here if I have to throw those videos together with this setup. But then Shotgun Studio, I wanted something separate, and you'll see that separate studio that I have set up for that. But those are the 3 channels. I know you're not supposed to have 3 channels. All the big YouTube channels that tell you how to start a YouTube channel and grow will tell you that is the bad idea. But, you know, I try to do everything on one channel, but those videos just didn't perform because people coming for the firearm related stuff really don't care about microphones. Maybe they did care about motorcycles. You know, I still got some views on those, but I just thought it better to keep 3 niches separately. It is a lot of work and it's hard to be consistent, but hey, I'm doing this just because it's all fun, not really to go full time on it. But I want to show you everything, and it'll kind of, you'll see where I get the 3 YouTube channels, but mostly the 2 main ones I shoot in here are for the Boomstick channel and then this channel right here. All right, so here is the overall room. I'm standing in like one corner, and then this is basically the best shot I can get for the overall room. This door is the entrance to this room, and then that is a closet. But this is basically how I have it set up. 2 desks fit in here pretty comfortably. I love that this has an offset to where the room's pushed back that way, and I could have that desk back there and not have to cram everything in here. So this is how the room is set up right here. Let me walk over to this side, and you can kind of see how I have everything right there. I do have that chair. I love the chair. I want to use it more, but I can't. We'll go over that here in a minute. Both these lights are the GVM SD200Ds. Really love these lights. Wish I would have just bought these off the start instead of going with those newer panel lights. Those things weren't the best, but it's just on a newer light stand there. And this is basically, this would be my fill light. You can see I have the grid on that. And then this would be my primary light or my key light. I have the lantern on there. It gives most of the room the light. This, however, is on the light stand that it comes with, and if you can't see, it's leaning that way. It's the leaning tower of lantern. So not the sturdiest. I can't use this one because this one is being used for my overhead rig. I just use my phone and have it up here as my overhead camera for when I need those. And this is the only way I can figure out how to get it set up sturdily, I guess. So I can't use this light stand for this one, but I'm gonna see some other ideas. And then just the desk, it's a Husky workbench. It does go up and down, and I love it because it's on wheels. That's been awesome. And then here's my main camera setup. Have one of these video tripods, and then the Sony a7 IV, and then you can see the Elgato prompter right there. And then this was my main camera for a long time, the Sony ZV-E10. As you can see, I use it as a secondary camera now. I could probably use it as an overhead camera, but I don't know. The phone works just fine, but I use this as a secondary camera for our podcast just to give it a little bit of a different angle there. And then as a hair light, I have the Amaran tube light. Can't remember the name of that, but that is what that looks like. And then we'll come around here. See, I just got a nice little stand there. Obviously, you'll see a whiskey theme. And then this is the gun wall I did. I have a video on my main channel on how I set that up. And then this is kind of what I see when I'm looking at you guys. There, I'll turn it on. I do use Ecamm Live. And there's the Elgato prompter right there, as you can see. And then I just use this to kind of control everything. I do everything through Ecamm Live and never use the SD card on that camera unless it's for pictures or something. Rodecaster Pro 2 has been super awesome. I use the Stream Deck just to go between the cameras when I have two of them hooked up. Really don't use it for anything else, so other than just the switching the cameras. And then the Shure SM7B is my main mic, and the Shure MV7X is a secondary one. And then we use the Rode NTH100s. Love those headphones for sure. But this is kind of what it looks like when we're sitting here, and it works. Plenty of room back here. What I hate is that I have a TV in this room that I can't use because obviously it's tucked away here in the corner. And yeah, I can watch it if I'm sitting here, but if I'm at this desk over here, I can't watch the TV. So I need to figure out where I can hang this TV in the room and still see it. Obviously the problem is the lights are in the way, especially on that desk I'll show you here. So I'm not sure where to put it on the walls because things are in the way. And then I love this Mosin crate. So this is an original Mosin Nagant crate that I've refinished. And I have a bunch of Mosins in there and it's set up really cool, but I can't access it because I got the TV on top of there. And that's a Mosin, in case you didn't know what they were. So I got a bunch of different types of these in there. And yeah, I was gonna turn that to a coffee table, but haven't yet. So I wanted to do a glass piece there so you can actually see the Mosins that are in there. It looks pretty cool. But I can't show you guys because I got this TV where I can't find a spot for. So that's an issue. And then here's these doors. There's the other one that was behind that Mosin crate. It's just attic space, not a lot. Like the roof pitch goes down like this, so it's really not practical. I don't store anything in there. So I want to kind of hide those. And this is kind of a spoiler alert. I did a test sample of some of the paint I'm going to go with for the rest of the room. It's going to be dark, but I think it's going to look better than this lighter. Right now it's Dorian gray, and then this is charcoal. I forgot. I'll have to look at the name. I forgot what it is, but it's a good looking color. So that's the main studio setup, and I love it because I basically just keep everything like this. I have the Mac Mini under there, which I use as the main computer. I have my first computer I started off with, the MacBook Air, but that really doesn't have enough power to power all this. So I had to upgrade to the Mac Mini, and it's just underneath the desk right there, all plugged in and that stuff. So main setup, pretty cool, love it. Secondary setup is where I spend most of my day job doing that when I'm not out doing inspections and I got to do stuff here. But then I also decided to turn this into a secondary YouTube setup for this channel. And it's great. These are just curved monitors that I've had forever. The desk is amazing. Now, it was not cheap. It is an uplift desk, and it's like 70 some inches long. Because I have the space, I'm like, I want a large desk. Love this thing. It's got, I needed to do a video on it, but it's got the cross beam. I wanted something that was going to be sturdy because I obviously have my monitors, have a light and stuff. I wanted something that was going to hold all that weight. And my wife has a standing desk from IKEA, but the desktop was just so thin and flimsy. You really get what you pay for. So I love this thing. It was like 1,400 bucks for everything, but well worth it. So that's the desk I'm using, is the uplift desk. It's like the commercial one with the T-bar. I forgot what it was actually called. And then so when I want to do videos over here, I will take that smaller tripod that the ZV-E10's on, put it over here behind the desk. I just got to pull it out a little bit, and I'll put my Sony a7 IV up there. And then I have to bring the MacBook computer over here, plug it in, and I'm good to go. I have the Rodecaster Duo, which I freaking love this thing. Yeah, it's great for videos, but man, for work calls, since I do a lot of Zoom or Microsoft Team meetings, that thing is awesome, especially with the Rode NTH100s with the microphone attached to those. Awesome. But I recently got this Rode NT1 Signature Series. Really excited to try that out, so have that hooked up there. And then I got the Rode NTG4 in case I don't want a microphone in the frame, just attached to this Elgato light. So this is an Elgato light. And then this is another GVM light. This is their 80 watt, so a lot smaller. But the problem is I wasn't able to mount it to the desk because it was going to be too close to me. So I have it on this stand, which is fine, but it's, I don't know, again, it leans forward. And if I got to pull the desk out, it's always tipping. So I'm not sure if I want to keep this light, maybe just do another one of those to make it a little bit easier. So this has been the setup I use for Shotgun Studio anyway, and then my day work. So I just, when I want to do videos, I just got to bring the camera over and my computer, and I'm good to go, which I like it because then you get this background. So I love showing off the whiskey bottles and everything, a little bit different setup. And then when I want some blue light, I'll turn this light on. I'll actually turn these off, and so that blue light will fill this side of the room. Sometimes I'll go red, just depends, since there's already blue over here. So I do kind of like the contrast. So sometimes I'll change that to red, and it'll show up a little pinkish on the film, but that's kind of how I do that. These lights will be off, and so you'll just see that red or blue color in the background here, which is really nice, but then you really see this stuff in this shot as the background, and I really like it. But obviously, I'm going with a different color because I think this is too light. I've been watching a lot of videos, and since, you know, I want to hang out in here more, I want to be able to utilize this chair and watch TV, you know, watch YouTube videos, stuff like that, watch Thursday night football, like what's going on right now. But I can't. If I'm sitting here, I can't see the TV. I can only really see it if I'm sitting there. So I want to try and reconfigure this room, not move any of this stuff. This is staying there. But anything else I'm willing to try. Maybe if it's just moving the TV up there, and I don't know. I got to figure that out. But that's one thing I got to do, is I want to make this room kind of feel like a more of a hangout spot. I think this is too light. I've really been liking what's called the dark studious look. Jeremy Sayers did a video of a whiskey room that he does and also shoots YouTube videos from. I really like that. That's kind of what I'm going with. That's where I got this color idea. This is the same color that he used in his office. So I'm going to use that in here, and it's going to make it nice and dark. The only problem is I'm not going to paint the ceiling because that's popcorn texture. It's a pain in the butt to paint over, and then I think it'll make it too dark. But what I'm thinking about, and I want to get your guys' opinion on, is obviously I'm going to paint the door and all that stuff that color to make it kind of blend in. But what are your thoughts on the trim? So I'm thinking about painting the trim the same color of the walls, because if you're watching videos, I mean, that white trim is going to stick out like a sore thumb. So I kind of like to hide all the trim, especially with that dark color. All that white trim might kind of stick out. Not a big deal, but I think it'll just look more fitting. So let me know, and I got to decide on the doors if I'm going to paint this side of the doors that color too, just to kind of make everything blend in, kind of give it that more studious feeling, I guess. So I got to decide on that. My wife doesn't care. She's like, this is your room, do what you want. So, and then, I don't know, I got to figure out what to do with the whiskey bottles. I might try and do a different setup. Ideally, I would love to knock this area out and build a built-in shelf in there, but that requires, you know, a bunch of drywall, reframing it, and obviously there's no flooring in there, so that'd be a process. That might be something I do down the road, but not right now. Right now I'm just gonna paint that all one color to kind of hide those attic spaces. Luckily this TV hides that one, but if I move the TV, it'll be more noticeable. So I want to figure out how to, I mean, this is a great office setup and a YouTube setup, however, which way you do it, but I can't really hang out in here other than when I'm doing editing. I'm over there and it, you know, it's fine, but I'd like to maybe have a glass of whiskey in this chair and watch some YouTube or something, and I can't. So I got to figure out how I'm going to do this. I'm okay with getting rid of the studio and just using this, but I still have to keep this desk for my work. So maybe it's as easy as taking down the lights and then moving this desk over here. Of course, I think it's too long. I don't know, maybe against the window, and then putting the chair there, maybe the TV there or something. So I got to figure that out. But the first thing is obviously going to be painting. And then once everything's out of here, because unfortunately, have to take everything out, and then I can kind of put everything back and see what it looks like. But I think going with this dark color here will kind of really bring out that tone I'm going for this room. And then I would like to do more wood accents, like the dark wood. I really want to do the acoustic wood panels, would be really cool. And then also that would cover up that whole space there. And then on this side, maybe doing it to about however far it comes out with that wall with those acoustic panels, you know, those dark slats with the foam backing to kind of really give this a good sound insulation. I don't have any problem with echoes in this room, obviously because of the carpet and there's a bunch of stuff in here, but I think that'd look cool adding that wood grain texture back here, but those things are so expensive. So I'm going to start off with just painting this. Might try and do some more research on seeing that, or maybe I can make my own, just buy some 1x whatever and stain them and just throw them up there or something. Kind of does the same thing, a lot cheaper. So I got to figure that out, but I think that'd look really cool with those slats, wood slats on those sides. Maybe another wall in here, I don't know, we'll see. But my goal is to make this kind of look more of like a cool gentleman's club, kind of a whiskey theme, you know, in those movies where they're at that really expensive hotel, or, you know, an old Tudor house with all the wood stuff and the dark tones of everything, and, you know, have the whiskey set up. I love the smoked cigars in here, but there's a way to do that, but not a cheap way. So that's just limited for the garage, which is below here. So I don't know. I got this cool little whiskey bar set up. Got some glasses in there with some different whiskey, and then obviously some whiskey on the shelf. I have more whiskey downstairs, the more expensive stuff, but I don't know. I just want to kind of to figure out a way to get this to be more of a relaxing place too, instead of just, oh, hey, I got to work, got to go record videos and edit, and that's it. Like, I want to be able to use that chair, watch some TV. So I just got to figure out how to make that happen. The first thing I'm going to do is paint everything and go from there. All right, so that's how everything is set up right now. I mean, honestly, do I need to really go through this process? No, but like I said, I want to be able to kind of have this set up to where I can relax in here too. And it's taken me a long time to get this place to where it is now. Lots of research, lots of trial and error, you know, swapping out different pieces of equipment. The lighting was the toughest for me. I wish I would have bought these type of lights initially. They were a little bit of an investment, but I kind of cheaped out initially just because I didn't know a lot about lighting. But now that I got that down, got a good camera and all that stuff, you know, I'm kind of bored now. I want to take on this challenge, I guess. But yeah, so if you guys have any ideas of maybe how I can kind of get this to look like that, more of a whiskey cigar lounge feel, kind of like, you know what I'm talking about, like the Tudor style. I was watching a couple videos and they called it like a dark, studious vibe look to it. I don't know, something like that. Definitely probably going to have to bring in some more wood grains and some wood stuff to kind of get that feeling in here too. It's where those wall panels might come into play. Probably have to do those myself just because they're expensive if you buy those, and they only come in like little sections, and they're expensive for those little sections. So I know I can probably make those myself, but we'll see. But if you guys have any ideas, maybe if you have a setup this way or have seen some things, maybe some decor I could put in here, because obviously you could see I have a lot of Game of Thrones pictures about 4 or 5 of them in here. I'm kind of over the Game of Thrones thing right now. I was really big into it for a while and kind of went all Games of Thrones. I even have the banners behind me initially as the backdrop. But I'm going to definitely take down the Game of Thrones stuff, and I want to do something more kind of classy, more on the whiskey theme going on there. I don't know. So a lot to think about, but the first thing I got to do is to take all this stuff out and at least paint and then go from there. So I'll be recording this entire process, try and do some time-lapse stuff. I got a couple GoPros, obviously, from the motorcycle channel. I'll be able to set up in here and do some cool time-lapses, and then I'll kind of go through the process of the videos of that. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so you'll be notified when I come out with those videos. And please do comment any ideas that you guys have as well down below. That would be greatly appreciated. And in the meantime, until I get the next video filmed, go ahead and check out this video so you can see the studio tour in a little bit more detail how I have it set up now. And we'll catch you on the next video.